Secretary Hegseth said he had no knowledge of this and it did not happen. It was fake news. It didn't happen. And then the next day from the podium of the White House they're saying it did happen. So either he was lying to us on Sunday or he's incompetent and didn't know it had happened. I think more people are coming around to be concerned about what's going on when you have Lindsey Graham, the Wall Street Journal, and other Republicans saying that the second strike bombing people who are shipwrecked or clinging to wreckage, that would be illegal in the words of people who are very supportive of what the president's doing. That's a whole new scenario. So I think we've entered into uncharted territory here. I think there's a broad consensus that it's illegal to kill people who are clinging to wreckage. I think there's still some question whether the initial bombing is illegal as well. I think that you can't really just say, well, we're at war, we're not declaring war, and Congress is not going to be allowed to vote on this, but because we're at war, we can say these people are combatants, we can do whatever we want, including killing them the first time, or if they're still floating around after we've tried to kill them once, killing them again. I think even the administration knows they made a big mistake here because a couple months later, what did they do? Then they rescued people. But even that leads to more questions. The people they rescued, they didn't prosecute. They didn't say, well, we scooped up 2 people, we scooped up their guns and their weapons and the drugs that were floating on the boat. No mention of any kind of drugs or anything, no evidence, no interrogation. Normally, you'd interrogate people all the way up the line. We just got a letter back from the Coast Guard today. Their overall statistics are that 25% of boats that are boarded don't have drugs on them. We now have specific information from the Coast Guard that of the boats captured by the Coast Guard before we started the Bomb Them to Smithereens campaign, in the traditional sense, when the Coast Guard captured boats off of Venezuela, 21% of them did not have drugs. So the idea that we're just blowing up boats where historically the rate is 21% of them are not even smugglers is outrageous. Hopefully this is going to unify the American people to stand up and say killing people willy-nilly is against the law.
But Senator,
what
do you make of this? What do you make of the administration?
Let's go right here.
Have you seen any evidence that there were survivors on these boats, on this particular boat? Have you seen any evidence that there were survivors? What intelligence have you seen?
I've been offered no briefings, and I think that's purposeful because I've been skeptical of this. So no briefings have been offered to me. We are asking for them. We are supportive of the Armed Services Committee looking into this. But this has been very selective in briefings that have been given to people, primarily given to people who are already apologists for the administration.
And do you have confidence in the Defense Secretary at this point?
I'm very, very concerned about an order that would say kill them all, kill them, after they've already been wounded, after they're drifting apart. But for some people, this is distinctly different, the second strike. I think both strikes are actually illegal. I don't think you can just name people and say, well, they've got drugs, well, where's the proof? That's an allegation, and these people are 2,000 miles away. People don't realize these outboard boats have no capability of reaching America. Take them like 20 stops to refuel to get up here. In all likelihood, none of these boats are coming to America. It's a completely made up and false sense that, oh, we're at war, we can do whatever we want, but if Congress wants to vote on it, oh, no, we're not at war. So they're at war if they can do whatever they want with no oversight. But if Congress were to get involved with oversight, oh, it's not a real war, it's just a war where we name people who we don't like, we call them terrorists, and then we kill them, and then if we see them floating around in the ocean, we then re-bomb them. It's a crazy
It sounds to me like you're calling into question other strikes that have been taking place, that those could be determined to be unlawful. So do you support broadening this investigation beyond that September 2nd strike? And who ultimately bears responsibility? Is it the Secretary of Defense or is it the Admiral?
I think what unifies people is the second strike, and I think that's what's going to bring people together. When you have people from Lindsey Graham to the Wall Street Journal saying that the second strike is illegal according to the laws of our military contact, even in times of war, it's illegal. So the first question is, are we at war? And if we're at war, should Congress vote? That's the first issue. The second issue, though, is even if you accept the first strikes, most people are saying the second strikes aren't. I don't like to see political figures pointing their finger at military figures. Military people take orders, and there's a question about when they don't take orders, whether things are legal or not legal. But in this sense, it looks to me like they're trying to pin the blame on somebody else and not them. There's a very distinct statement was said on Sunday. Secretary Hegseth said he had no knowledge of this and it did not happen. It was fake news. It didn't happen. And then the next day from the podium of the White House they're saying it did happen. So either he was lying to us on Sunday or he's incompetent and didn't know it had happened. Do we think there's any chance that on Sunday the Secretary of the Defense did not know there had been a second strike? So as a country, are we just going to let people lie to us to our face? We're going to let them kill people who they call enemies anytime in the world. We're going to let them, like when someone is stranded and holding on to the scraps of a boat, put a second bomb on them. I think it's outrageous and should be universally condemned.
Should he resign? Should he resign, Senator?
Called for some of these orders to be